In a remote village in Peru, a father became the husband of his own daughter. This sounds like a terrible taboo, but the truth behind this act reveals a profound form of sacrifice and paternal love that challenges our understanding. To understand, we need to go to the Andes and unravel an ancestral custom born of necessity. This is not just a story, it is an investigation into the limits of family ties and how far a father can go to protect his own blood in a land that is as beautiful as it is unforgiving. Prepare yourself, for the truth we are about to discover in the heart of the Andes will challenge your perception of right and wrong, of love and loss. To understand the choice that would define his life, we must first understand the man and the world that shaped him. Lucio lived in a small, isolated Quechua village, thousands of meters above sea level, where life was a tapestry woven with hard work, tradition, and an unwavering connection to Pachamama, Mother Earth. His world was small, but it was complete. He had his wife, his community, and his pride, his daughter Juana. Juana was the light of his life, vibrant and strong. She had married a good man named Mateo, strong and kind, who worked alongside Lucio in the fields. Together they brought two small sons into the world, Lucio's grandsons, whose laughter echoed in the thin mountain air. Their life was not easy, but it was their life, governed by a rhythm of planting and harvesting. Their modest adobe home was filled with the warmth of family and a shared purpose. But the Andes hold a deep duality. Their majestic beauty masks an ever-present danger, and the quiet rhythm of life can be shattered in an instant. The tragedy that would change everything began like any other day. The morning mist still clung to the valleys when Mateo, Juana's husband, set out to check on a distant potato field located on a particularly treacherous slope. These trips were routine, a necessary risk, but on that day, the mountain was unforgiving. Whether it was a loose rock, a sudden bout of altitude sickness, or a simple misstep, no one will ever know. Mateo did not return that night. A search party was formed, their torches flickering against the vast mountain darkness. They found him at dawn, at the bottom of a steep ravine. The news hit the village with the force of an avalanche, burying Juana in a grief so immense that the mountains themselves seemed to mourn with her. In an instant, she was a widow, her children fatherless. In this isolated world, with no social safety net, the loss was more than emotional. It was a practical catastrophe. A single woman with two young children could not manage the back-breaking labor required to farm the land. Without a man to work the fields and represent the family, Juana and her children faced a future of unimaginable hardship, becoming a burden on the community. As he watched his daughter waste away in grief, Lucio felt the weight of generations on his shoulders. He was not just a father, he was a patriarch, the guardian of his lineage, and the traditions of his people. The unwritten laws that had ensured their survival for centuries offered a path that, to an outsider, would seem unthinkable. Lucio saw two possible futures. In one, his daughter and grandsons would slowly fade away, their land becoming useless, and their lives a cautionary tale. In the other future, he saw a way to preserve their home, their dignity, and their very existence. This path demanded a sacrifice few could comprehend. It was an ancient Andean custom, a solemn pact born of necessity. He would have to fill the void left by Mateo. He would have to take his son-in-law's place. After sleepless nights, he made his decision. He would approach his daughter and the village elders to propose that he, her father, become her new husband in title and in duty, but not in flesh. This was not a proposal of passion, but of pragmatism. It was a father's promise, sealed by the most sacred of traditional commitments, to ensure his bloodline would not perish on that cold, lonely mountain. This is where the story becomes complex, for to an outsider, the word husband sets off every alarm. It conjures images of taboo and leads to a conclusion as horrifying as it is incorrect. To understand the truth, we must dismantle this word and reconstruct it within the context of Lucio's world. The arrangement he entered into was not a marriage in the Western sense of the term. It was a social and economic contract, a public declaration that he was assuming all the responsibilities of his late son-in-law. There was no romantic or physical component to this union. To suggest such a thing would be a profound insult to their family and their traditions. The entire community understood this distinction implicitly. To them, the arrangement was not about a father marrying a daughter. It was about a grandfather saving his grandsons. He would work the land that Mateo had worked. He would ensure the children were fed and had a future. In essence, he put his own life on hold, dedicating his remaining years of strength to preserving the family unit his daughter and Mateo had built. The title of husband was functional, a placeholder that society could recognize, granting Juana's family the status and security they had lost. It was a shield against the destitution that awaited a lone widow. Far from being a shameful secret, Lucio and Juana's arrangement was formalized in the presence of the village elders. It was a communal act, a solution sanctioned and supported by the very people they lived among. In their world, the survival of the family is paramount to the survival of the village itself. A family that crumbles creates a vacuum, a weakness in the social fabric. Therefore, the community does not judge. It facilitates. The elders recognized the act for what it was, the honorable fulfillment of a duty. This community acceptance is perhaps the most crucial element that we, as outsiders, fail to grasp. In our societies, such a situation would be met with ostracism. In that Andean village, it was met with nods of approval. The judgment comes not from within their world, but from without, from those who see the headline without understanding the story. The details of this story reach the outside world through the work of journalists and anthropologists. One of the most compelling accounts comes from a team of French documentary filmmakers who, in the late 2000s, were filming disappearing Andean traditions. They spent weeks earning the village's trust to be able to film Lucio and Juana. The footage they captured is extraordinary. It does not show a dark secret, but a dignified man working tirelessly in the fields, his grandsons playing nearby. It shows a daughter who, though still carrying the sadness of her loss, speaks of her father with a moving reverence and gratitude. In an interview, when asked about the arrangement, Lucio does not speak of marriage. He speaks of obligation. A man's work is never done, he says, gazing at the mountains. My daughter's family is my family. Her children are my blood. The land must be worked. The children must eat. This is the way. Critical analysis of this evidence reveals no hint of the taboo we project onto it, but rather a complex cultural system of survival. Despite the evidence, a vast unknown space remains at the heart of this story. We can analyze the economic pressures and explain the cultural traditions, but we can never truly know the emotional landscape inhabited by Lucio and Juana. What was the true emotional cost for Juana, seeing her father in the role once held by her beloved husband? Did this daily reminder of her loss bring her comfort or constant pain? And for Lucio, what did it mean to put his own old age on hold to take up the burdens of a young man again? We see their actions, but we cannot access the web of emotions beneath the surface. His own grief for the son-in-law he lost, his fears for the family's future, the immense weight of his self-imposed duty. To respect their story means accepting that there are depths to their experience that we, as outsiders, will never fully comprehend. Their quiet dignity demands that we leave a part of their emotional truth to the silence of the mountains that witnessed it all. In the end, this is not a story about breaking taboos, but about redefining what it means to be a father. Lucio did not violate a family bond. He forged armor from the very name to protect his family from annihilation. His choice was not an act of transgression, but an act of preservation. He became a living wall between his family and starvation, a guardian of his daughter's dignity and his grandson's future. He honored the memory of his son-in-law, Mateo, not by replacing him, but by ensuring that everything Mateo lived and worked for did not turn to dust. This story reminds us that morality is not always a fixed set of rules, but is often shaped by the harsh realities of circumstance. It is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the unbreakable strength of family ties in the face of life's cruelest twists. This story forces us to question our own definitions of family and morality. What would you do to protect yours? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe and hit the bell for more haunting cases. Remembering the erased is resistance.